Join Venus Castleberg as she teleports you to the wonderland of possibilities, where we explore consciousness from the inside out to create a different world, where problems are possibilities and your point of view really does create your reality.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am really looking forward today to this conversation with Marilyn Bradford, the author of Right Recovery for You. Welcome, Marilyn.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
That's awesome. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your history? Like, what's your background? Where'd you come from?
Let's see, over 30 years ago, I was diagnosed as a depressive and an alcoholic. And I went through traditional treatment and I was in 12 steps AA for 15, 16 years, worked all of it. But it was interesting because at the beginning of that, I was seeing a therapist, I was having a divorce, all of the stuff. And my therapist said, "Hey, I think you'd be a really good therapist." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." So I did that. I went into graduate school and did that, and with a specialty in addiction. So I've been a psychotherapist for 30 something years. And in 2006, I found Access, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing." I wasn't particularly looking. It was more that a friend had some classes on, and those days it was like what do they call what do we even call those things? I can't even remember. Tapes. I was listening to tapes.
In case anybody's listening that doesn't know what a tape is, it was before CDs.
Yes, it was even before CDs. And I'm like, "Oh, I got to do this thing." So I went to my first class. It was actually the first body class that Access ever did. Gary Douglas put it on. And there were no prereqs because I haven't even had bars or foundation. But anyway, I was hooked after that. And at that point, I was doing a private practice with my clients, mostly with addiction. But of course, people with addiction, there's depression, there's all kinds of things, bipolar. And a couple of years in, I said, "Gary, I'm using these Access tools with my clients in my psychotherapy practice, and they're getting better faster." I was like, "Wow." And I said, "So is there something that we can do with Access consciousness and this addiction thing?" And he said, "Yeah. What do you want to do?" And at that point, there was only one Right class, which was Right Body for You. So I said, "Well, could we do Right Recovery for You?" And he's like, "I like that. I think I'll do a bunch of Right classes." But anyway, that's how Right Recovery for You was born. And I used the Access tools with my clients and ended up writing the book, Right Recovery for You. It's just such a different perspective on addiction and recovery. So that's a tiny bit of my background, but here I am today in 2023 and still, I'm so thrilled with it all. And I'm thrilled with the Access tools and Gary and Dane's support of me and what Right Recovery for You can change for people that, from my experience, the traditional ways of looking at recovery and addiction can't ever do.
So I'm sure some people are listening and watching going, "Well, what's different about it?" Can you maybe tell us a little bit about what's different about using the Access tools versus traditional?
Well, one thing was that I was able to become aware of addiction in a very different way. And this reality, people say addiction, recovery, it's all about alcohol and drugs. And it's all about you have this mental thing or this physiological thing, and like that. But let's change that. What I really realized was that addiction is an energy looking for a target. And I'm going to read something that this is what gets passed out by my Right Recovery for You facilitators when they do their intro classes. Addiction is an energy looking for a target. The target could be drugs and alcohol or sex or food, but it can just as easily being right, to being perfect, or to fix and rescue other people. The target of addiction can show up as being addicted to trauma drama, being superior, or even sadness and depression. It's about where you leave yourself to give yourself over to something else. Addiction is about making a substance or a behavior greater than you. When you are functioning from an addiction, you imbue the target of the addiction with the powers and qualities you have decided you don't have, but you absolutely require. You have just entered the no choice universe. And I really want to say to people, because the whole idea that addiction is about alcohol and drugs, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, sometimes. But it's really about where we leave ourselves. So it can be to being right or being wrong. It can be to being the perfect mom, the perfect dad, the perfect businessman. It can be to image. There's a lot of addiction to image. Oh, let me show you who I am, kind of thing. It can be to fixing others, putting others first. But it's an energy where you leave yourself and you imbue something else, a behavior or a substance or a concept, with all of the things that you think you don't have that are actually within you.
So thank you for that. That's awesome. And so let's say you've left yourself. How would you find yourself again?
Great question. And really, that's what Right Recovery for You is all about, because I look at recovery not as stopping something. Now, obviously, if you're doing something that's harming yourself or your body, you should stop that. Drugs, major alcohol, sex with any partner that's available, that kind of thing. But it's really about coming into the question of who you be. And also, the thing that I discovered a couple years into having created Right Recovery for You is that the primary addiction, okay, so we're going to have alcohol, drugs, fixing other people, being perfect. Those are secondary addictions. The primary addiction is to judgment and the wrongness of self. And that pain, that's an enormous pain. And that's one of the reasons that people relapse. When I was looking back at my experiences with AA and all of that, one of the things I realized is that the program itself, and I want to say right off the bat, AA is perfect for some people. It's not about right and wrong. Right Recovery for You is not great for everybody. It's for certain people. But one of the things that AA does is it's all about, where are you selfish, self-seeking, dishonest, and afraid? It's all about making you wrong. And that pain is enormous. So that people who maybe I'm going to go out, I'm going to have a drink, it's to ease that pain. A lot of relapse is about easing the pain of being wrong. What Right Recovery for You does, and it's about very much like Access, which is empowering you to know that you know. This is about unleashing the greatness of you. It really assists people in coming out of that sense of wrongness and embracing the unique gift that they are. And that's what I love about it, because every person out there is a unique gift and they don't know it. No, you're not just that. You're so much more than that. So it's really about moving beyond the judgment of self and the wrongness of self and everything that we've been told we should be or do or believe, and finding that incredibly amazing gift that you be. So I want to say one other thing here, because people are like, for most of us, we're made wrong from the beginning of when we show up. You're not a Maxwell if you don't do this, or a Wong, or a Shamami, or whatever it is. You should be doing this. You don't fit in. You don't. And that's what begins to create the wrongness of self and begins to create the platform from which people choose to leave themselves and go into some form of addictive behavior. So if we can assist people in moving beyond the story and what they were told and everything that they bought into, hey, you're 2 months old, 6 weeks old, 5 years old, 10 years old. You're going to buy what's told to you if no one ever says, hey, you're an amazing being. What if you were able to be that? And what can we contribute to you being the unique being that you are? How many of us got that? Pretty much nobody. A few, maybe. But that's what this is all about. Really assisting people and getting out of that sense of wrongness and showing them that none of what they were told, or maybe very little, is actually relevant or true. They were just told what would help them fit in and be the robot in this life.
So true. Yep. Well, I know that there's some people out there going, well, but how? How do you find out how amazing you are?
Well, of course, you can come to one of my classes or any of the access classes because they're all about empowering you to know that you know. But one of the first steps is to ask yourself, okay, what have I bought about me and who I am that's not true? What is my story that I was told that's not true? And if I weren't believing that, what would I be aware of? And constantly asking yourself, what's true for me? What's true for me? And people are like, I have no idea, Marilyn. I've always bought into everybody else's reality. So start simple. Okay, food. What's true for you and your body? What do you actually like versus what you're told you should like? Go to a restaurant and go, okay, so if I weren't buying into the idea that I like pizza, what do I really like? And do that with everything: clothes, music, friends. Oh, is this person actually a friend? Maybe.
That's a good one to ask.
It's really, and that's the thing. This reality and most of what there is in addiction, like the 12 step, it's all about answer. Here's your answer. Yeah. Venus, Access is all about questions. So one of the best things you can do if you're interested in moving beyond all of this is to begin asking a lot of questions. Second thing, don't judge yourself. That's hard for many people. I always say to my clients, give yourself a day of no judgment. I have a client who said, I can't do that. I'm like, how about an hour? I'm like, okay, give yourself an hour of no judgment. So you go, okay, from 8 to 9, I'm not judging myself. And if a judgment comes up, go, nope, sorry, you have to wait till 9 o'clock. So then I'm not judging myself. Because if you can begin to move into question and no judgment of yourself, you can begin to move into awareness of what is and who you are. And nobody tells you this stuff.
Right.
Growing up, at least most of us, I certainly didn't have it, and my clients I know certainly haven't had it. So those are the things that I would say. And there's so many amazing access tools, like, who does this belong to? Oh, it's not mine. Okay, never mind. We have lots of thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we're aware of somebody else, somebody in the parking lot, somebody next door is feeling sad. Oh, I feel sad. I'm sure it's mine. What if it's not? What if you can be happy? So those are the kinds of things that I encourage people to do.
Those are great. Yeah, I actually partied like a rock star in my 20s. So
Yes.
I did lots. Lots of drugs and alcohol. I made it count. And then when I turned 30, I was just done. But what I had to do for a long time was ask myself what's fun for me. Because what was fun for me for a really long time was partying, drugs, alcohol, dancing. And then when I stopped doing that, I was like, I don't actually know. So it was quite a few years of me asking, well, what's fun for me? And like really looking at what is fun for me, and so that's another question you can ask.
Great question. Yes. And you brought up something that I really want to say to everybody is, if you choose to go forward with all of this, you are going to hit some spots that are like, I don't know. And that's okay. Just go with them and go through them. Ask what's fun for you, what you'd like to create for your life. Just keep going forward.
Yeah.
That's the key to it all. Even if no one else is there saying, yeah, go forward. You just have to, okay, I'm the source. I can go forward. I can create something different. And that's really okay. So thank you for that, because I just went, okay. What we're told in this reality and what we're encouraged to do is to make someone or something outside of ourselves the source, whether it's God or alcohol or dancing or whatever it is. No one or nothing outside of you is the source. And that's another, when I first began to experience that and realize, I was like, okay, I'm not sure I can do that. But, once again, you just go forward. Because if you make something outside of yourself the source, you make yourself powerless. It's whether it's an addiction or just whatever it is, please don't do that. Please recognize and allow that you are the source and the creator of your life. And if it's scary, I get it. That's okay. Just keep going.
Mhm.
And you'll find amazing things, because you're the only one who knows what's true for you. You're the only one who can create what you would like to create. You are unique. And that's one thing that I really desire people to know. There is no one in the world, in the universe, who is like you. You're unique. And that's the uniqueness, that's the gift that we all have for this reality and other realities.
Wow, that's really great. And would somebody start to acknowledge their uniqueness?
Well, sort of what we've been talking about,
Mhm.
looking at where they've made others or ideas, and it can be your family history, it can be your religion, it can be your culture, it can be anything that has told you that you're not unique, you're part of this, you need to behave in this way. You just have to go, okay. Sometimes I tell people, what if you woke up with amnesia? Gary and Dane talk about 51st Dates. It's a great movie to watch. What if you woke up and you didn't have your family and you didn't have your culture and you didn't have any of that? What would be true for you? What would you know? And that's the kind of thing you can play with. Now, when people first start that, they're like, yeah, I know, because everything's been projected onto you that this is who you are and this is who you need to be. But keep asking the question, what if I woke up tomorrow with no family, no history, no culture? What would be true for me? What would I know? What's my uniqueness?
I love
And it
that.
doesn't mean that you separate yourself out.
Right.
It's much more about just finding your reality so that you don't necessarily have to go to somebody else's as the truth.
Yeah.
You can still include everyone and everything. And you know more and more, and it is a process, who you be and what's true for you and what your uniqueness is.
Mhm. I love that. Yep. A few years ago, Dane said to write down 3 things that you're grateful for about you every day.
Mhm.
And I did that for until we moved to the Miracle West. But but I will say that at first it was tough. Like I was like, I don't know what I'm grateful for. I had to dig, right? But then overdoing it every day and for over almost 2 years, like I like I really like myself. So I'm sharing that because there's that could be a way that maybe you could start to find your own uniqueness. And what's great about you is just find 3 things that you're grateful for about you every day and see what that creates.
I love that, Venus. Thank you. I'm going to do that. I hadn't heard that one.
Awesome. Yes. And yeah, I've heard a few people say it's tough at first, but keep like Marilyn said, stick with it. And you will start to gain that awareness. Keep asking the questions, keep moving forward, and you will get there. It's just, you just got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So, and know that you're not alone in it. You know,
Yes.
if anything, we're here to just say, hey, we've been there, we've been where you are, and there are other possibilities for life and living.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Marilyn. So if you could have everyone just get one thing out of what you said today, what would you want them to take home?
Know that you are a unique gift and that it may seem way out there, and you can be that and have it, and just keep going forward.
Beautiful. I love that. Yes, and you have some really cool upcoming classes. You want to share what you've
I
got?
have a melting judgment coming up.
Good one for finding your uniqueness, just in
Yes.
case anybody was wondering.
And Access and I are together putting on a class called Recovering from Family. And I have a few other ideas I'm tossing around with my team. But if you go to MarilynBradford.com, you can see what the latest is. And I'm excited. I really am.
Yeah, well, we are excited to have you on the planet, Marilyn. Thank you for you being you and the gift you are to us all.
And thank you, Venus. Thank you for you, the same, being you and the gift you are. I love it all.
Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. We're so grateful for you. Have a magical day. Bye.